GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com. Made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. There we go. Welcome, everybody, to what would normally be Ask Gun Questions, but we have a little different situation going on this week. Tony's joining us, but this is Guess Gun Prices 1980s edition. So I've got my little baby co-host sitting here, and he will eventually get all antsy and not be here anymore, but for now he's being nice. And we got Tony joining us, so I guess Tony did not get his plans did not work out like he wanted, so we get Tony for a bit here today. He's got some other stuff going on. But you grew up in the same era I did. So where is your preference on Soldier of Fortune versus American Survival Guide versus SWAT? I have in here somewhere. Versus, did you have another one from that era?
See, the only one I didn't consistently have was SWAT.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but Soldier of Fortune, that was the bomb. Thank you for the human being and country Virginia that donate his Soldier of Fortune magazines to the Goodwill, because that's where I got mine at.
Oh, right on. So you didn't have like a newsstand to get them new? You got an old collection?
Yep, all of mine I would pick up. I think it was like a quarter per at the Goodwill.
Oh, snap. That would be a deal today. I mean, back then, I guess that was a little more expensive, but they would still probably cost $1 or something.
Yeah, either it was a quarter or a dime. It was whatever I could afford.
Well, they were $3.95 back then. So, yeah, a quarter was a super deal.
Yeah. So that's how I invested my gun stuff.
We got a poll going for people out there if they want to vote. It looks like right now nobody's voting. So maybe it's that they're not old enough. Maybe they weren't reading these magazines. Who knows? Maybe something else. So let's say again, we've got the idea here was to talk about gun prices. That's what I do when you guys ain't around to do the Ask Gun Questions show. And I usually just open up like Shotgun News or some old magazine or something. But in this case, since we're doing the 1980s, I don't think I guess Shotgun News did exist, but I think it started in the 80s. So I don't know if I have any Shotgun News that are that old. I'm sure I have some from the late 90s, but I don't know if I have any from the 80s. But I do have magazines. So, I mean, I have no idea anymore if some of these are actually mine. It's possible that some of these are mine from newsstands back in the day. I never had a subscription to them because I couldn't afford it, and I just never did. But we would have to go to certain newsstands to get them. And then, like you said, finding them at gun shows usually is where I found them. But every once in a while, I'd find some older ones. And this was pre-internet, so you get your information about new stuff. You get your glimpses of what might be coming. You get your prototypes and your weird, interviews with people who make kind of one-off stuff. And then you get your looks back at World War II, or maybe, like at this time of era, like Rhodesia or the Contras, or, different things that were happening around the world where like the Foreign Legion was going, or, I don't know, they were hiring mercenaries, or, I don't know, just testing out things and talking about stuff. There was a couple of reporters that would just go around and report on the things that were happening around the world. I imagine there was probably people reporting on, I guess there was reporting on the gear and the vehicles and things like that when you get into like American Survival Guide. So I don't know. With that being the case, I don't know if you got anything you want to bring up before we start to, I guess I'm going to peel through some of these, and we got quite a few people watching live. Nobody's really saying anything right now, but if anybody's got any opinions or what am I trying to say? We'll go through some of these, think of them as like a table of contents or an index. And then if somebody wants to look at something specifically, let us know.
Yeah, let's get into it, man.
So essentially, I've got a ton. This is the two what I recall, these things, these plastic things that hold magazines. I've got a bunch of these. So these are two of them, and these are in my AK collection. So most of these have something to do with AKs of something or another, because this was the first glimpses that we had of AKs back in the day. Because I didn't have books, I just saw them in articles. And like I say, some of these might be my actual magazines, but more than likely, most of these come from, like an MRE box was like a big long rectangle box and it just holds a magazine perfectly for whatever reason. So I found a gun show one time, somebody had an MRE box full of American survival guides and soldier fortunes and some SWAT magazines. And I paid them like $20 for the whole box. It was awesome. So I got most of my modern, like current collection from like all in one chunk like that. But then over the years, if I see a soldier fortune laying there, I'm grabbing it, especially an old one. Because for me, I like finding the old articles. So what I've done is I've tagged in this group, uh, usually ads, sometimes an article about something AK related, and this was all part of my kind of my research and history of the AK when I'm trying to go between what the books do. So the books that are out there, actual books about the AK, are going to be either a manual, like a Russian manual, rewritten in English, sometimes literally just rewritten, like they just take the exact same info and just rewrite it. Other times they try to interpret it or add to it and extrapolate on it a little bit, but it's essentially a manual and like some history. Then there's some other books that get into maybe the accessories and things like that. But what you don't get in any kind of book is the current or all the failures along the way, the things that were current but never succeeded. So they just got left on the wayside. And that's where magazines are really neat. So articles or advertisements for, like, let's say a front grip that never took off, you'd find it in a couple of magazines as advertisements or maybe an article about the thing that's new. Or, sometimes in magazines they'd have like a section up front for like things that are coming, like new product section or something. So sometimes you can get a glimpse of these things that never actually came to market, or came to market and came and left so quickly that the book just never caught them. So these are snapshots in time of AK stuff. So I'm going to go through some of them. I got an R5 from South America, or from Africa, AK bayonets. So one of these, is that it's just some AKM bayonet stuff. There's stuff about a Uzi in here, something about the NRA. We got a SHOT Show thing, so this might have been some of the first kind of announcements about SHOT Show. Looks like I say something about Spyderco in that one. A P10, I think that's like a Caltech. There's an AK book in here. The AMD, or wait, the NDM 86. I think that's that. Is that the Chinese bullpup? There's RK74 101. There's an article about a Mac 10. This one has an RPG 7. This one has something about the AK 22. So these are all AK things, and I guess I could also be looking at them as far as these are mostly from the mid 80s, and they're SWAT, Soldier of Fortune, and a few American survival guides. So we get back into this one. There's a thing about the red cell, Mercinko, fixing your AK, from like back in the 80s, talking about fixing an AK, a Yugo 22. Anyway, these are all going to be hard to read because they're all, my writing is kind of smearing on them. There's one about SKS, AK stocks, Valmet. So just kind of combing through there. Those are some about Polytech. Does that say Buckeye ad? I don't know what that means. Mini belt buckle, so that's probably for a mini revolver. Other than the Galil. So if something in there had something that rang a bell with somebody they'd want to hear about, let us know. Otherwise, Tony, you got anything from that? Just kind of rummaging through.
Yeah, no, I was looking at that that Soldier of Fortune cover from '85 you got on there. That's Rambo 2, baby.
Oh yeah. This is let's see, Rambo 2, VN Vets Revenge, Vietnam Vets Revenge, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
$3, June 1985. South Africa's R4, and the the R4 is essentially a Valmet that
Mhm.
is rebuilt, or what do they do? It says civilians in South Africa, particularly border farmers and cattlemen, have unusual home defense requirements, all kinds of heavily armed insurgents, escalating terrorist stuff, and I'm guessing somewhere in there, like rhinoceroses, other stuff, right? That just get mad at them, hippopotamuses or something. They got big critters, and I don't know where all those critters are. Africa's huge, but I'm assuming they all have all parts of Africa must have giant critters that we probably don't have to deal with.
Well, the
Made
funny part that people don't realize about Africa, because I mean, there are no fences between them and their animals. And like some Americans freak out when they have a deer in their backyard. I'm like, yeah, what if you have a leopard chilling on your back patio? Because that's kind of what they have to deal with. So yeah, if you have a firearm, you want something that'll be a one-shot stop on something that can eat you if you lose. So yeah, your requirements may be a little different than all I need is a 22, or I'll just yell out of the door and scare them away.
So it sounds like just by skimming it, they took the Israel IMIs,
Hmm.
back then it was IMI, Israeli Military Industries. They changed it to WI for weapons industry at some point in like the 90s or something. But it says it's essentially a, um, a Galil, but I guess the front sight had some issues. So when they rebuilt it, when Arms Corps kind of took the design and rebuilt it for the R5 and R4, they strengthened some of the things. So it's essentially a Galil, but it
Hmm.
has some strengthened pieces or elements. Just because whenever you got years on the clock, you're going to rebuild the thing, you might as well fix some stuff. So it sounds like they didn't try to do anything crazy. They moved the lever must be moved backwards, blah blah blah. So it's just a little bit of differences, and then so anyway, this is kind of neat because this is something that again you kind of get a little bit in books and stuff, but usually they don't talk about it because one, nobody has an R5 here or an R4. They're select fire, so nobody's importing them. Plus, I can't imagine how many of them survive through being used and where were they used? What
Well, they're
countries?
using South Africa, Namibia. They probably sent some to Rhodesia, and I know definitely the Guatemalans had some because
Yeah,
that's
so
who bought them.
essentially swamp and what do they call that kind of climate? So essentially like jungle and swamp
Hmm.
environments, like just essentially rust is just going to wail on it. So I can't
This
imagine
is
too many of them survive. Plus, if somebody's got one around, why are they going to go, oh, let's sell this and get rid of it? If it works and they've got it, then they would sell
okay.
it, keep it, right? So this is what we're thumbing through now is the Epic
The
1980s,
classic, bro. The
right?
classic, man. That ad is just awesome.
Right? And it's I don't even know, but here you go. Rambo happened. First Blood. Actually, this is already the cheesiness of Rambo 2, but
Hmm.
First Blood happened, and it just knocked everybody on their ass with knives. And then this was the reaction. I guess though the difference is that one from Rambo. I mean, I have no idea. Hundreds, thousands of dollars. It was expensive for a kid. It was
Oh
out
yeah.
of There's no chance. This was 19 each, two for 38. What a special deal! Almost $2 off when you get two of them. But that was something that was seen as every other thing was like this. There was nothing about this that was Rambo, right? At least that
Yeah.
one had a hollow handle or whatever. They were trying to
Wow, Vietnam. What is that? Vietnam M7, right? M7
this,
bayonet. Yeah.
yeah, essentially. Well, I don't know.
Yep.
It is one, but I think that design is actually like from the carbine. So all the M16 just took M1 carbine's bayonet and then adopted it, changed it a little bit.
Yeah, I got one. It's awesome.
So
I
this
picked it
one
up.
in Northridge, Sherwood, these kind of things were pretty awesome. I really like these. They'd come and go, but they'd have like these kind of ads, and then you would
Hmm.
literally. I mean, you could clip this out. I think I would just take a piece of paper and write the stuff on there without clipping out on my magazine. But that was the internet. That was how you bought stuff back in the day. They would have something like this. They'd have prices on it, and you would send them money, right? Send, let's see, sorry, no CODs. Check, money order. Oh, maybe they didn't want cash. But a lot of times you would just send, well, in this case, you'd send your credit card number on a piece of paper to them, and then they'd run your credit card and then send this stuff to you. Parallax, one of my favorite ones.
Oh, dude, it's almost like yesterday looking at these.
These crazy jackets. I guess our like ultimate was to have some sort of a private jet, private plane, and go stand in front of it with a nice nylon jacket. Right?
Oh, dude, did you see the cap guns over on the other page of the ad of the bomber jacket, dude? Look at that. Oh,
This
man, I
was-
remember those.
How many
Yeah.
of these did you have, right? Like,
Oh,
was-
dude.
everybody grabbed one of these. I don't know why, because it was just getting to where you couldn't get toy guns that were any good, and these looked
Oh,
real.
yeah.
You could play with them and whatever. You know. And
Toy
let's see,
guns started to suck.
22 tear gas automatic, $10, and revolver, $9. So essentially, they're both $9. But yeah, when you're out playing and you wanted to like actually play, like shooting those caps off, way funner than just shooting I don't know, pieces of plastic or a cap, an actual cap gun. If you were far enough from each other, then you needed caps also, or you needed blanks also. So Barnett International, when the wolf is at your back, that's ultra epic right there. So somebody colored in that dude with a marker. Got another. Oh, Kaufman's. I've been to Kaufman's in
Oh, yeah?
Albuquerque. Yeah, turns out they're still there. Super epic surplus store. So if you go to Albuquerque ever, you look at it on a map. There's a road that goes north and south, and there's a road that goes east and west. That's 40. I think goes east and west. I don't know what the road is that goes north and south, but when you go north, you go to Santa Fe, the capital, and when you go south, you come down towards Mexico. So east and west, as you go to Texas or you come over to Arizona. And if you think of Albuquerque being at the intersection of those two roads, Kaufman's is kind of right at the 2:00, right at the intersection at like 2:00, if I remember right, maybe 3:00. So it's real easy to find and get to. It's right off of the highway, and super good surplus store. I've been to a lot of surplus stores. It's top 10 for sure. It's not the top surplus store just because it's not as big as some of the others, but it's just as inclusive. It's like got so much stuff. It's definitely been a surplus store since the beginning of surplus stores, and it shows. They've just got tons and tons of interesting stuff. Prices were fairly decent too. Plus, this kind of throwback to 1985, and they had a full page ad back then. For stuff like these boonie hats, you couldn't just go buy these at a store. Like you had to either find them at a gun show or risk one of these kind of things. And I don't know if we had a lot of variant or if it was, there was just a certain amount of these things in the stores all sold from the same lot or not. So we'll do this. This is a thing called guess the price. So here's a signer conversion to shoot 22 in your Mini 14, because of course a lot of people are worried about that. So a metal bolt and a metal magazine, nothing polymer here. To convert your 22 convert your Mini 14 and 223 into 22. How much? My finger's on the thing. How much does that cost? Go ahead and leave your guesses. Tony will start, and then y'all can either go higher or lower from where Tony's at. So how much do you think for a signer conversion to convert your Mini 14 and 223 into 22?
I'll give it $50.
$50 is Tony's guess. So anybody can put in their suggestion there. I'm going to leave my finger there to try to keep that page, and then I'm going.
Oh, hold on. Let me do the thing. $59.95, because I'm thinking 60. It's like probably what a conversion kit costs today. So yeah, I'm figuring 3 times. Yeah.
Woods is saying 30, 29. The ultimate game. War games, high cash profits, selection of guns, washable pellets. I wonder what that is. Some kind
The
of
Harry heck is that?
paintball, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Something I never did get is these little things. I always
Yeah.
figured they were a ripoff, probably
Oh,
plastic or something.
the price was too low.
Exactly.
It's like, oh, that sucks. You know you're gonna get it and it's gonna be broken.
These I must have dozens, though. I really, really like them. Often they would just break, but sometimes, every once in a while, there'd be a good one. So I always risked a couple of bucks if I could find a new one of those to buy. This is the era of goofy ass folding shotguns. People like this shit. Look at that.
Oh, it was so great to have a pistol because of the TV shows and the movies, dude.
How would you like to have what's that? A mini mag with two D cells strapped to the receiver of your shotgun? Try rocking that in 2023.
No shoulder stock either.
No, you don't need a shoulder stock when you got a D cell flashlight, kind of a
Oh.
yellow, blurry in front of you.
Oh, dude, half the weight of the entire shotgun is the flashlight.
Like that right there. That
Oh yeah.
paper or something. I don't even know how many blowguns I've got. Many, many, many blowguns.
Oh, those books, bro.
Guessing. So I guess
Really?
Tony wins, although he got a pretty good deal because it turns out that thing cost $130. You can't really tell because my thing isn't a magnifying. Oh, I could probably go get a magnifying glass, but $139. Woods voted under, so Tony wins that one. So that was a Soldier of Fortune right in the front here. I don't know if this one's super valuable, but just the way this little thing is, I'm trying to get it in there without ripping the whole front cover off. This one's neat, if I remember right, because this might be one of the issues. So Soldier of Fortune is a magazine, and a lot of people give it shit because of the back. You get these things, and it might be like employment wanted, ex-infantryman and intelligent, have experience. Bronson Smith, right? Carl Doggy, interrogator of Da Nang, wants your whereabouts, and bright green amphibious face. Like what? So there was some weird stuff going on in the classifieds. Booby traps.
The original trolling by feds.
Yeah, exactly. And then Merc for hire, anything, anywhere, price is right. 10 years military, NAM 66, 67, and 70, 71. Expert, small arms, light weapons, demo, ambush, military intelligence. Contact Bob. P.O. Box. Yep. Whatever. So, sure, Bob. I was going to do it, except you just didn't have quite the experience I'm looking for. Ray-Ban sunglasses, 25% off list. Nice. Constable will guide you. That means GI camouflage cloth. Train yourself monthly manual, tradecraft, adventure, intelligence. Just super cool, right? So this is the back of Soldier of Fortune. But they'd have articles, sort of the same kind of ads we were just looking at. Military leaders on T-shirts. MacArthur, Lee, Rommel. But what was cool about it is they often were over there creating articles about stuff and got things or got to see things before any of us, sometimes even the CIA. So I guess I kept this one in here, trying to see where my tab is. This is because somebody did a thing about the AK bayonet being a prize. When I was in Africa, I served with the Rhodesian Army security forces, blah, blah, blah. And when we blah, 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 you get one of their bayonets, and that was easier than keeping a gun. So it's a lot of times people would keep bayonets or whatever, and this was, 1982. So this was before my time. I wasn't looking at this in 1982, but this is the kind of stuff I would have seen back in the day, and this is where I got ingrained on wanting to have AK bayonets around. So this is just an interesting article. But you'd get stuff like this where they'd go hang out with the Mujahideen or whoever, and they're carrying around a bunch of bolt actions trying to kill the invading Russians, right? So boom, all of a sudden there's an AK. And and it's not a Magpul vert grip. That's the sling with the piece of metal, and then it just hinged over. But that's his sling, and well, he does have two mags taped together. But what the heck is this thing? So probably mounted in a door of something, perhaps. But essentially, I don't know what this particular one's about. But I have a couple of different Soldier of Fortunes. I don't think this is one of them, but I have a couple of different Soldier of Fortunes where the first time anybody saw an AKM, the first time anybody saw a 545 by 39 ammo, and the first time anybody saw a Krink was in Soldier of Fortune. So even before the CIA got a hold of one, Soldier of Fortune was printing pictures of them holding them and hanging out with the people. So it's just a neat magazine. So I'm going to grab this one.
Hunter Biden.
September of '81, carrying around the Russian, or is that Russian or is that Vietnamese? I don't know, but it's definitely communist belt buckle, Ray-Ban sunglass thing, Uzi, no magazine. So, but this is what's his face, Tom Berenger. So I don't know if that's for some magazine or what.
Probably a movie.
Or, I mean, some book movie or something.
Probably. 81.
So 1981 NRA convention. A Day with the Jackals. Soldier Survive. Soldier Fortune's new magazine for 1984 and after. Let's see. Shotgun Wizard. Stories from the Streets of Saigon. What's page 60 all about? Page 60. Survive. Okay. So this guy's going to survive with an AK and a Alice bag.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was from the movie Dogs of War.
Oh, okay.
Christopher Walken, Tom Berenger. I remember that movie.
So I'm going to come through here and try to find something with a price so we can play another round of guess the price from the 80s. So this is 81. You literally can't get much earlier 80s than this. Jeff Cooper's Fireworks, the Ultimate Cooper. What is that? Is that like Jeff Cooper, the instructor, or is that really just some?
It's got to be Jeff Cooper. It's 1981.
So Commando Quiz. We're just going to turn this into a Commando Quiz. We're going to rate your toughness because I can't find any prices. Probably illegal to talk about prices from the 80s anyway. So number 1, Douglas DC-4. Wait. Oh, okay. So you're going to match low-cost planes for covert operations. You should know this. There's a Douglas DC-4, the North American B-25, and a Beech-18. Which one has a 20,000-pound payload and costs about $40,000? Because the others cost $8,000 and $5,000.
I don't think the DC-4. Wait a minute. Yeah, I don't think the Douglas DC-4, which is a C-47, I don't think it had a 20,000-pound payload.
No, I'm thinking that's the 6,000 pound, and then the B-25 is the 20, and the Beech-18 is the little guy.
Yeah, so, I'll go with that too.
Let's see if I can't find the quick answer someplace. Now score your test answers on page 79. So this is before the internet. This is good. Check your answers. So the answers are the Douglas DC-4 is actually A.
Wow.
Wait, no. Answers to questions. 1. No, yeah. 2 is C. Yeah, we were wrong on that. So man-portable missiles and rockets. The SAM-7, the LAW, or the RPG. This will be easy. So we got a SAM-7, we got our LAW, and then we got the Russian RPG. One of them is 33 pounds, one of them is 5 pounds, and one of them is 14 pounds. Range of 3,500 meters or range of 200 meters. So it's pretty easy. The LAW is the little guy, right?
Yep.
Now, the SAM is probably the heat anti-tank rocket at 14 pounds, and the LAW and the RPG is the 33-pound.
I'd reverse those last two.
Huh?
I'd reverse those last two. I'm figuring the SAM has to have a heat seeker reader on the launcher itself, making it heavier. All you have is the scope on an RPG-7.
Yeah, RPGs don't weigh shit. So RPG, I mean, our LAW is the little guy with the 5 pounds. The RPG is the 14, and the SAM is the 33. So let's find out. 4 is the 33. Yep. 5 is our law. Yeah, we had it right. So there you go. Now you know about small portables. Now we got small arms, Uzi, AK, and M16. If anybody misses this, come on, you gotta win. So Uzi, AK, and M16 right off the bat. Your calibers, we're done. So we don't even have to do that one. We all win. True, false. A quarter-pound block of C4 can be easily detonated using one number 6 commercial blasting cap. Are we allowed to talk about that? Huh?
I guess that one and say yes. I don't know.
I'm going to say false and leave it at that because of the number 6 part. So hitting the back of the hand and wrist, or top of the wrist thumb side with the stick, will cause the hand to open involuntarily and release any weapon, true or false. Hitting the back of the hand or wrist on top of the thing with a stick or a hard object will cause you to drop it. True or false?
False.
Oh, this says true. So evidently they have not tried smacking something out of Tony's hand. So hitting a slightly behind and below the ear with a forceful edge of the hand shuto strike will break the subject's neck. True or false?
No.
No, it would only render a subject unconscious. Let's see, 13. To create a diversion at night, and Mark 1 illuminating hand grenade is useful in open areas to draw attention. Inside buildings, the Mark 1 and the Mark M14 incendiary hand grenade are used to blind assailants temporarily. True or false?
To blind someone with an incendiary grenade?
Yeah, exactly. I'm waiting to see what a Marine's going to say about this one.
It's true.
It's true. It says true, but I think, yeah, it's true that you'll be blinded before it burns your house down, and then it burns your house down. You don't really throw an incendiary grenade anywhere, even in a steel box. You know what I mean? Like, throw those around. We were
Welcome
talking
to my baby.
Your squad must cross the street, and you know a lone sniper is in the upper floor of a building somewhere at the end of the street. You think the sniper has the street in view, but doesn't know your exact position. You should line your squad up shoulder to shoulder, one side-by-side line. This line should start several feet shorter of the corner so that at the count you can get a running start and cross the street together. True or false?
The fuck?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, Russians could try that if they want. This says true, though. The sniper will not have time to react effectively. If you crossed one by one, the sniper would be able to pick off the next man in line. Well, that's ballsy and interesting. Nothing I was ever, nothing we would never.
I mean, I guess if you're 100% true, everybody at a dead sprint coming out of the corner and hauling butt across the road,
And
they
you
won't
hope
have
that
time to
guy
react.
isn't one sniper hanging out with 16 other dudes who all go, hey, let's all play.
Yeah.
So next one is 90% concentrated nitric acid, urine, aluminum powder, optional, and 2 gallons. Okay, let's leave that one. What is this supposed to be anyway? I don't know what it is.
It's
True, false. I don't know how these are true, false. Something's messed up. So fill in the blank. This is a it's a diamond pick.
Is it diamond?
Yeah, I think that's what they're trying to say. Because that one's like at the end. Then this
That's
one.
a diamond. That's a wave pick. Tension wrenches.
Yep.
And that's a scam. It's called a pick gun.
It's a wiggler. So essentially just wiggles the pins.
Yeah, it's just up and down. And I'm like, because I tried to use that multiple times and I could never pick anything using that.
Yeah, it kind of depends, but yeah, they're weird. But I'm wondering how well they worked back in the day with old locks too. You know, because I never used one back then.
Well, yeah. Well, the thing is, doing what I do, you know, for the last 30 years. I ran into them. Older locks from back then, and they had the double-sided keys for the front door of the house. They used wafer picks, pretty much like a lock on a jewelry case, like a cheesy jewelry case or a cheesy drawer. And those things could be picked by looking at them hard. So a thing like that would probably work, and you think you had something awesome, but truly anything you would have gotten to the keyhole would have turned it.
Yeah, exactly. So now I found it. It says, what do these components make? And we won't be playing that recipe game because probably not supposed to talk about that stuff on YouTube. So then we get to multiple choice. A fast enemy aircraft is crossing position. To use small arms to shoot down the aircraft, you should generally concentrate your squad's fire what number of yards in front of the airplane's course? 10 yards, 50 yards, 200 yards, or 300 yards?
Well, that would depend on the speed of the plane.
Yep. To use small arms, you should generally concentrate. So definitely not 10 yards. 50 is probably, I'm guessing, the answer because 2 and 300 are too similar to 50, you know what I mean, to each other than 50, but I'm just guessing.
Yeah, but I'm like, what speed is this and how far away? I mean,
in what direction? Yeah, if it's going with you or aside from you, it's different than if it's coming straight at you, right?
Yeah. Altitude, all that. I mean, how are you 50 yards away from a plane?
They say 200 yards, so they just kind of arbitrarily pick 200 yards, I think. An enemy helicopter is about to cross your squad's position. You know you've been detected and you concentrate your fire in front of the helicopter. You lead the helicopter by 10, 50, 100, or 300 yards.
Since they're making up crap.
It says cross your position, so now it's coming across you, I guess.
It's left to right, right to left, whatever. I'm
Helicopter
saying, again, depends on the speed. I say between 10 and 50. I'm going to have to pull two of them.
I'm going to say 50 for this one just because it sounds right.
All right.
27, 50. For jet helicopters or slow fixed-wing aircraft. See, this was a time when people would just think weird things and be like, okay, like now we know that. Like, no, you don't. Like, what are you talking about? You have to go out and shoot down a hell of a lot of helicopters and then you kind of get the gist of it. On a routine morning patrol, you come across a body. Marks on the corpse in its position, sitting with arms behind the back, indicate the person died as a prisoner. It hasn't rained in a week, and the temperature has remained about 80 degrees during the days. Oh my God. The jaws, neck, torso, upper, and lower extremities are stiff. From this evidence, you ascertain that the body's been dead for 2 to 4 hours, 8 to 12, 24 to 36, or 37 to 48.
How long does it take rigor mortis? Because that's what we're talking about, right? It's just rigor.
Yeah. But you can still see everything. So I'm guessing 24 to 36 before, in this case, something ate it. Because I'm guessing.
I'll say 8 to 12.
8 to 12. Rigor mortis would begin leaving the jaws after this time, and decomposition would be rapid in hot weather. So, I didn't think about the jaw being stiff because things will let go after rigor mortis is done. In an attempt to subdue a mentally deranged subject or a freak on PCP, you use a locked carotid or locked cancery choke. Hakaja Jaime for your judo jocks. That must have been the BKJJ back in the day or whatever. It takes 10 seconds for the subject to lose consciousness. You should hold the choke. Oh man, this is going to be controversial. For a count of 10, a full minute, full 7 minutes after the subject goes limp. The subject eyes may remain open, pupils dilated, and the surface. Oh my goodness. This is the kind of stuff we read about when we were like at lunch, sixth grade.
They're telling you, whatever the shortest amount of time after someone goes limp, you let them go.
Well, this is Soldier Fortune. So let's see. They say for
7 days.
Yeah. For a full minute, it takes 4 to 6 minutes to cause brain damage, and the subject remains conscious. Too fast if held for less than a minute. Oh, so that's interesting. So if you are trying to put somebody down for a bit, an enemy, then you don't necessarily need to kill them, but yeah, more than a minute, otherwise they come right back out of it, I guess. Destruction of rails on a railroad should be done at vulnerable points. Curb switches, frogs, and crossovers. It takes how many pounds of TNT placed against the side of 1 inch of high rail to
Oh
destroy
my
a
God.
section of track? Nice. Soldier Fortune magazine, 1981. They weren't kidding
Yep.
around. They were playing real deal. None of this like, do you like
Not
to wear
endless
yellow
this and
tennis
shoot from
shoes,
stuff.
bro?
And if you want to ask the Marine how much C4 to use, all of it.
Yeah, exactly. How much do you have with you? Um, Current U.S. fragmentation grenades have an effective casualty radius of
15.
C15. Oh, wait. This is 31. Pretty good. A Soviet RGD 5 grenade?
That's a smaller one?
I think so, because ours was that other one. Or no, wait. Back in the day, we didn't.
Oh, is that the baseball one? Yeah.
We didn't throw these anymore. We threw these all the time.
Yeah, that's a baseball grenade, I think.
But they say that theirs has a 20.
Wow.
CS is more potent than CS gas, oleo, blah, 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 nitrile is more potent than CN, but less toxic. CS and CN are. Do I have to even give you the answers?
What was that now?
What are CS and CN examples of? Are they tear gas, plastic explosives, nerve gas, or decontaminants in biological warfare? Those are the things that they would gas us with back in the day. So I think, I don't know, both of them they don't use anymore. Now they just use pepper spray or whatever. I don't know what these things were, but they were like, I don't know. You had to go through a tunnel with them though, right? Probably CS, I think, back then. I don't remember.
Yep.
But well, we had to go into a room and then take off our masks all at the same time, and then say something or whatever, and then you don't put it back on. I think you just take it off. I don't remember, but I remember, you see in the movies, it's essentially some version of what they do in the movies. They take it. I think for us, they put it
turn your back to the center of the room. Take off your mask. Turn your back to the center of the room so they can set it up and light it off. And then you have to put your mask on whenever you thought you smelled something.
Oh, yours is different than us then. Wait. No, fuck,
Turn around with it.
You know what? It's been so long ago, and then watching so many dang movies about it. I think I remember them showing us though. Like here's it going off. I don't think it was a surprise, but anyway, the long story short is it sucks and it makes you snot for like an hour. And I don't even.
Well, they made us shave before going in. They made us dry shave before going in, so all our pores were open.
Fuck that. Yeah,
and once you get your mask sealed and go around check everybody, you had to pull your mask off and give your name and something.
Yeah, we had to sing something after you pull it off, which is no big deal because it's not that bad. It just starts making you snot and everything flows. Whatever can come out of you, sweat and everything starts happening. And it's just a matter of getting used to that. But
see, that wasn't the problem. It was the fact that you made me dry shave before it went in, so it's all in your face, so your entire face is on fire.
Yeah, that would have been awful. Because I was going to say, after it was over, we were in Missouri, so so shitty, but it was like we were sweating anyway. So after a little while, it's over. I don't even remember I don't remember changing clothes. Like it just goes away. Like it's not pepper spray. Like after a while, it's just.
I mean, you smell it. Like if it's in your gear. But you're gonna smell it when you come back on your gear. But no, those assholes, those sadistic fucks, they did it just to freaking make it hurt.
I don't remember getting too worried about it though. I was a little bit, it was a thing to do rather than taking a test or whatever. So it was something, but it wasn't. Nobody was super concerned about it. I know, hearing about the Air Force, they would have a Quonset hut, like a tunnel, like just a roof, kind of a shelter thing with two open ends though, like a pipe with two open ends, and they would launch their grenade in the middle and have to walk through. I'm like, oh no, you have to walk near some in an open tunnel. Like, oh no, that's like nothing. I can't even imagine. I guess it's just to so they know what it smells like, or
I guess
if they want to take a big breath of it.
I think the Marine Corps I don't know, because all you know is your platoon. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
I
Because they
think
could change it 2 weeks later, and you'd never know.
yeah, or one the next group that goes through they don't do it with. But I think they did it to show you, regardless if it's burning, if it's hurting, if it's whatever, you can come through the other side of this no problem.
I think so too, right? They want you to get enough of it that you think, "Oh my goodness, I can't get any more," and then you go out and like 15 minutes later, you're like, "What's for dinner?" Or like, "What are we doing next?"
Yeah,
Because it wasn't that bad.
like you're not wrecking your life, dude. You'll be all right in a few minutes. 5 minutes from now, you won't even notice this.
I mean, it's nicer to not do it, but yeah, you're not going to die. So, and I imagine that's probably necessary if you're ever going to have to throw it at somebody, because you're not going to get all upset if you get some of it in your eye. A terrorist has a submachine gun trained on a group of hostages. Happens all the time, especially in New Jersey. You are a sniper, and you have orders to eliminate him without causing him to pull the trigger reflexively. You have a clear shot of the terrorist from the side. You should aim at the temple, at the center of the ear, 1/2 inch forward of the ear, 1/2 inch behind, and 1/2 inch below the ear. Teach you that kind of stuff. You know what it means?
I think it's right behind the ear.
33. I should probably keep my finger on that page.
Because you're going for the medulla oblongata.
They're saying 1/2 inch behind and 1 inch below the ear opening. So
there you go.
Something.
And
that only works with a terrorist and a submachine gun. If a terrorist has some sort of a full machine gun, it might be different.
Oh, totally different. I'm like, dude, I'm using the 308. 1/2 inch on either side of the ear is going to do the same thing.
That's true. Which of the following arteries, if cut, would cause the subject to lose consciousness in 2 seconds and die 3.5 seconds later? The brachial above the elbow, the carotid in the neck, the radial in the wrist, or the subclavian behind and below the collarbone.
Ooh. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking of quad.
Which one? The last one or the second one?
D. Bravo.
B. Okay. I'm pretty sure it's D. Okay. Let's see. This is 34. D. Subclavian. So, and I think that has to do with the whole like lose consciousness, because you cut the neck and you're not going straight down. It'll take you a while. It's like cutting your wrist. When you do this one, this is when you go down into. So essentially, you cut them and then they bleed out into their own chest cavity. They don't have a lot of time to react.
This was all the commando stabs we saw in the World War II era movies?
No, yeah, exactly. That's the come up behind somebody and commando stab them like that. And they just collapse in your arms and bleed into themselves, and you don't get all bloody. It's actually pretty gross, but at the same time, super effective.
Oh, look, I learned something today.
So, according to the FBI, the best color for uniforms in urban areas, this is controversial. This is from 1981. The best color for uniforms used in urban areas: light gray, dark blue, olive drab, or dark brown. Wow. That's the FBI. I don't know what the hell they come up
Well, if you're trying to blend in an urban environment, it's obvious. UPS, what can brown do for you? And you get a box truck, grab some boxes, and keep it moving.
Seriously. So I don't know where that one came from, but they say the answer is light gray blends best, which is obviously light gray.
Do you remember that when urban camouflage was a thing?
That's what I was going to say. And somebody thought that was the way to go, and then they figured out, oh, wait, everything isn't concrete. Wait,
yeah.
Concrete does stand
against green. Light gray, blue, and like darker gray or something.
I mean, I like it, but I like it as a ironic, not woodland, like it's not because it's.
Yeah, it was cool.
I guess it would be good if you were in the rubble of the city. In the rubble of the city, it probably is really good. Or like shelled out city or something maybe, but just you don't get.
Yeah, but I'm like, what if I'm in an urban environment and I'm just trying to move from point A to point B stealthily?
So which of the following men were not knife fighting instructors? Sykes, Schuin, Fairbairn,
Oof.
Applegate, Biddle, or Cleef? I know three for sure, and I don't know three of them. So
I know C and D. I don't know why I know Biddle.
yeah, I want to hear. I feel like I've heard all of them except for Schoon, Carl Schoon, but now I feel like I've heard Carl Schoon and I'm saying it wrong.
Okay, I'm just gonna poke it now and say A.
Whoever heard of him, Schoon was John F. The answer is F. Cleef is not. Everybody else was.
Okay.
So let's see. Mark III A2 offensive grenade, not as opposed to a defensive grenade, and the Mark 116A1 grenade simulator are excellent for use against barricaded subjects and in some hostage situations because they produce mainly concussion and not shrapnel. Oh, I see what they're saying. They are effective in closed areas and will distract, if not kill, in the case of the Mark III, anyone, even if he's wearing a gas mask. They often temporarily blind and stun. All of the above, none of the above.
D.
Yeah, I think it's all of the above. At first, I was like, "What the hell?" And then I was like, "Oh, that's actually pretty interesting." I never thought about that, but it makes sense. You're so used to winging those practice grenades anyway. You get pretty good at winging them. Someone in a room at the top of some stairs, which are the only exit from that floor. The person is armed, and you have to get to him. The stairway is dimly lit. The door at the top opens inward and is open a crack. You have a handgun. How should you ascend the stairs? Crawl up the center, gun forward, tiptoe up using the outside of the steps so they won't squeak, gun forward, crawl up on the door hinge side of the stairs, gun forward. Why do they say gun forward since all of them say gun forward? Crawl up on the doorknob side of the stairs, gun forward. So crawl up the center of the stairs, tiptoe up the outside, crawl up the hinge side, or crawl up the doorknob side.
No, you tiptoe up the B side. You never come off your feet because you may have to run at the dude laying down a base of fire.
38B. I agree. I don't think you're going to lay down at any fucking time. They say the doorknob side. A person inside could view the hinge side and the center. Yeah, well, guess what? They are viewing everything. They're in ambush. So I agree with you. I'm not crawling upstairs.
Yeah, why would I get off my feet and go to my belly?
But okay, well, we have different tactics, I guess. So then we've got two more. You have to clear a number of dark rooms before you enter each room. You want to toss something slowly through the door to distract a possible gunner's attention as you enter. Which is the best to use? A large, shiny metal ashtray, a turned-on flashlight, a turned-on flashlight, one of those light sticks, or a weighted handkerchief.
Oh, baby. Oh, baby. I guess a chem light?
I'm thinking flashlight, but I could see chem light also, but definitely something that has a reaction, right? So
yeah, I don't want a flashlight only because, again, even though back then it wouldn't be the same thing, you're not going to be blinded by the lumens. But today, throwing a 2,000 lumen flashlight, the thing might come off and shine me right in the eyeballs.
Yeah, exactly. And this thing saying the light stick also because they cost nothing, they could break. A shiny ashtray could be good, better than nothing, because it could get reflections on it or something. But they're saying the light stick. All right, last one for all the marbles. You have a 12-gauge shotgun with a 20-inch barrel and no choke. Even a perfectly aimed shot will produce flyers from a distance of more than 30, 40, 55, or 85 feet.
It's going to produce flyers, period. I guess either it's between the first two.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea how anyone would know this other than maybe testing it, but I don't even know.
Because I've shot my shotgun at 15 foot minimum. 15 yard minimum. and you still get a flyer. So yeah, nice.
So it says 55 feet. As a general rule, expect 1 inch of pattern spread per yard from the
Yep.
target. That's interesting.
Yeah, but that still doesn't answer the flyer question.
Well, yeah.
It just gives me a spread.
So I don't know how many correct answers you had, but it turns out if you had below 7, why'd you even get this magazine? You don't know what the hell you're talking about in any of the articles. Don't go buy or do you buy True Detective much? Or you're better go read some back issues of Soldier of Fortune to find out what's going on in the world. Nice. If you got 10 to 16, how's your DI treating you? Don't worry, everyone graduates from basic these days, it says. Because that's the kind of shit they would say back in the day. Oh, everyone graduates these days, fuckers. So then you get 17 to 24. You'd make a good street cop or a better than average line soldier. 25 to 29, a specialist. You need to broaden your expertise by study of other fields of mayhem. Then you get 30 to 35, you're an EOD expert. You have an interest in small arms also. And if you got 36 to 40, you're a true soldier of fortune, a real pro who has mastered his art in all of its forms. Are you a CIA operative or a graduate of Patrice? I don't know what that is. Something university. So,
dude, I'm laughing thinking about this is 1980 and they're talking about everybody graduate boot camp these days. And I'm like, hey, Chief, you just came off a friggin' 10-year term where you just drafted people and everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you can't talk too much smack because you were taking people that didn't even want to go and passing them.
From your issues.
Oh, dude.
So here's the 1981 NRA convention. Old
hey, there's
guard.
Wayne LaPierre still looking 100 years old. Who
Actually,
is that?
Might be, dude. It says Soldier. No, it says Soldier Brown editor Robert Brown examines one of the 2 rifles Winchester has honoring John Wayne.
Mm-hmm. Who's he standing with?
It doesn't say, though.
Oh.
I'm guessing just somebody from Colt.
You gotta love it.
It says one young man had a sign saying Hitler had gun control. Nice. Herds of NRA conventioneers wander the display area at Denver's Something Hall, examining firearms and related equipment. Detonics new 451.
Wow.
Oh, here was the protesters. There was protesters at the first NRA convention. I didn't see that.
Yeah, and that's about how many was in Atlanta in the NRA convention then, but they were giving out friggin' shirts to homeless people and anybody walking through the park. So they were able to boost their numbers to hundreds of protesters.
It says old guard tangled with its new wave. The score stood old guard 0, new wave 8. For those not conversant with the Machiavellian maneuvering that goes on behind the scenes of the NRA old guard, a group calling itself NRA Patriots, and its opposition goes under the name Federation for the NRA. In 1977, people who now compose the Federation, this is right here, managed to institute a number of reforms at the convention in Cincinnati, Ohio. Basically, those moves, which the Patriots do not consider reforms, took power from a small group of NRA bigwigs who have wielded it for years and put NRA policies more under the direction of NRA life members who are permitted to vote in annual elections. Basic NRA policy is the issue. The Patriot approach is that the association should not become officially involved with national, state, and local political issues and personalities and revert to being a loose confederation of shooting clubs and outdoor sports interest organizations. The Federation was and is eager to enter the political arena, campaigning for and against elected officials for those would-be opposing anti-gun legislation, or what would be considered anti-gun legislation. For many years, NRA would not admit that it played any formal political role. So NRA become part of the, so ILA became sort of an arm of the NRA, although one regarded with much distaste by the old guard. Much of the ILA's budget came from donations. The NRA charged ILA rent prior to 1977 for offices used in its Rhode Island Avenue on Washington, D.C. Let's see. But the ILA, headed by a likable named Neil Knox, was so effective in defeating or revising anti-gun legislation and electing or defeating candidates based
Wow.
on their gun control platforms that it won much approval and popularity amongst the vast majority of NRA members. So this year's convention promised to resemble something like the gunfight at the OK Corral, but when it was over, the Federation held roughly the same position as the Earp brothers and the Doc Holliday, with the Patriots occupying the Clantons' role. The issue, okay, you have to know everything about the Corral to know that.
That's just crazy.
Yeah, so actually, I wasn't even thinking this isn't the first NRA convention at all, because we knew that they were having them since '77. But that's continuing on '91. I might do a separate video where I just dig into some of these. Let me know, people that are watching, if it's worth doing that. But
This is crazy.
here we go. The Marines had a display of some of their M40 ART sniper rifles mounting the inertial scope with which they are replacing Leatherwood's Retfield. ART, whatever an ART sniper, can dial the range, eliminating a holdover or under. It's also adjustable for bullet weight and powder charge, and weight around 2.5 pounds.
Oh, the BCD. All right, man. Hey, my ride's here.
Right on. Take it easy. Thanks for jumping in. Have a good trip.
All right, man. Had a great time. Bye, everyone.
Take it easy. Tony's going to a thing now, so he can only stay for an hour. Yeah, I don't know what I think I've heard of an inertial scope before. I definitely know about the John Wayne rifles, so it's neat to see when those became a thing. All right, well, I couldn't find much prices in here, but that's because they're really not selling anything in here. I don't know which ones we picked. I don't think I picked it. I think this one was from the back here. They're not in any real order, but about an hour is good. Nobody's really saying anything. I don't know if anybody's just been listening to us chatting or if there's something else going on. Half in. Oh, I got you half inch behind. Gotcha. So, I don't know. I guess we'll end this one. Maybe it wasn't as much of a guess gun prices. There was one gun price you could check. I'll just randomly pick this one, an American Survival Guide from 1989. This one might have been one of mine. Oh, snap. Well, first off, that Magnum Research picture. And then a pager holster. Who is that? So what do we got here? A Chinese ammo, AK SKS recoil pad extenders. I guess that was worth an article back in the day. Norinco ammunition. So a 1989 article about Norinco ammunition by Bud Lang. Water disinfectant. Oh, this is American Survival Guide. Nuclear accidents. Living through chemistry. Nice. Oh. Cool. All right, well, I guess I'm just quietly talking to myself here. Clover is out doing stuff. Tony had stuff to do. That got canceled. Some other stuff came up, so now he's out doing that. Oh, look at that tube. Nice Chinese AK. So with this, we'll start to wrap this thing up. And next week, we'll be back to answering gun questions. So if you got questions, feel free to drop them into askgunquestions.com. I'll be putting these back on the shelf. Let's pull out one more Old Soldier Fortune to see what that. Oh, we're right on. And put these back on the shelf. If anybody wants to dig into these in a future episode of Farting Around, let me know. Mike White saying just listening. Right on. Well, I think after this, G23 might have a show. Let's go take a look and find out. Let's see. Let's take a look at the poll. Can I move it over here? I can. And I can't see the answers though. The Soldier Fortune won. It's this one. With 55%. American Survival Guide, the top one, had 27%. SWAT and Kung Fu both had 9%. Kung Fu is actually a pretty good magazine. So we'll end that poll. Thanks everybody for participating in that. We'll go check out what else is coming up on the YouTubes. That's where we are right now. Looks like Matt has a chat coming up later today. Nothing from G23. I don't see nothing from him. But we know that Brooke will have a suicide prevention Saturday. It's already scheduled at a Great Start Shooting School. And we know that Foss is doing the overnight. And I'm guessing Hillbilly is going to be doing his guns and therapy. In the meantime, there's some new interviews that came out. The one from yesterday, speaking of old 1980s stuff, this stuff was all written by people from Vietnam. And there was an excellent interview yesterday on the team room with a recon guy from Vietnam, long-range recon. Very cool article, interesting stories, great conversation. You can check that out while you're waiting for a Great Start Shooting School and the rest of the stuff that happens this evening. Otherwise, thanks for joining in. We'll throw a link up here to our store. Grab stuff over there. Always new stuff being posted. We'll be back and pick up later on, on Tuesday, more than likely. Or actually, we'll probably have a bracket tomorrow night. But we'll do something with Clover on Tuesday.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
Little dude hears the music and he says, "What's going on?" So he wanted to come back up here and say hey to everybody. He wanted to come up here, but he didn't want to open his mouth and put his tongue back in. That would have been too much effort, but he did want to come up here and say goodbye to everybody. Is it possible for me to figure out a way to get his tongue to go back in? Oh, yeah, we got his tongue to go back in. It does work. His mouth does work. AskGunQuestions.com is a website that we built back in 2007. And since then, for the last 15 years, people have been able to ask questions of simple to advanced nature, and we attempt to answer them in different ways over the years. Join us now as we start a new series to answer gun questions. It's like you're right there. It's like you're right there getting eaten by a little tiny puppy.